Hey guys, welcome back to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I did go back to manage Crusade affairs and I restarted the reinforcing the walls decree, and then I just came back out here. So I figured if we're going to go to Pulura Falls, at least have one decree that will kind of get done, that we won't really need to wait on anything for, which is the military decree. So yeah, once we come back from Pulura Falls, hopefully it will be done. Let's chat with the hand to get started. Okay. What do you think of the Sword of Valor? It has changed under the effect of my powers. The herald raises a hand. Do not fret, champion. The great relic given to the world by my lady Iomade will continue to serve you just as it has served all people before now. The Sword of Valor has not lost its protective properties, it has merely changed its designs. Some might call it blasphemous, but not I. For the power that changed the banner's design was given to you by Iomade herself. Alright, fair enough. Let's go to Pulura's Fall.
I will be glad to accompany you. Gather your companions and let us depart.
And I think this is fine. The woman's face seems to glow with a radiant light. She looks at you with quiet dignity, and her eyes shine with warmth and wisdom. Greetings, Herald of Iomade the Lightbringer, and to your companion as well. I'm Eliandra, High Priestess of Pulura. I'm happy to see a new face in my temple, the first I've seen in all the years of our vigil. The man standing next to Eliandra does not look like a priest. He has a military bearing and his face is covered with scars. He studies you for a moment, then looks you straight in the eye. Kater, leader of the Holy Guards of Pulura's Fall. I see you have revealed our existence, Hand of the Inheritor. Did we not agree to keep it a secret even from the Crusaders? What has changed? My righteous allies, this is no ordinary Crusader but our champion. He brings us hope. He was chosen to receive the gift of the gods and has twice dealt a serious defeat to our enemies. First in Canabres, where he thwarted Descari's devious plot, then in Dresden, where he saved the city and returned the Sword of Valor. I ask that you receive him as a most welcome guest and as a brother in arms, for we stand together against the hordes of the Abyss. Okay, let's go with the first one. I'm Stooge, Knight Commander of the 5th Crusade. I'm honored to meet the servants of Pulura and the defenders of Sarkoris. Eliandra lays a hand on her heart. It is an honor for us as well. Tell me about your mission. Why did you decide to remain here in the World Wound? This temple has been blessed by Pulura. Whether it is day or night, the stars are always visible within the heart of this sanctuary. It is why those who study the stars conduct their observations here. Moreover, if we ever hope to understand the World Wound, the only place to study it is within its very borders. If we leave Pulura's Fall, all the work we have done over the past 100 years will be lost. You may be wondering why this work is so important. The answer is simple. We are looking for a way to heal the World Wound once and for all. Through our many years of study, we have discovered that the World Wound cannot be closed like an ordinary portal or a planar gate, because it is too much like a living creature, always growing and changing. The World Wound does not simply exist on its own. There is something else that sustains it, and until we understand what that is, our efforts to close it will never succeed. However, we have achieved much over the years. We have disproved numerous theories and trialed various research methods. Tracking oscillating energy levels across the World Wound led us to an important discovery. The World Wound has a heart of sorts at the place where the wound was first opened, the Threshold Fortress. We've also found a way to weaken the heart along with the demons that inhabit it. We will imbue a mighty artifact with both the power given to us by Pulura and the memory of the priests of Sarkoris. It will weaken the connection between the Threshold Fortress and the Abyss. This artifact will clear the sky above the fortress and set the sacred northern stars ablaze. Even if this doesn't heal the wound, it will give strength to those attacking its monstrous heart. Okay, I have all the resources of the Crusade at my disposal. I'm sure we can assist you in your work. I do not think that's possible. This is our life's work. It requires endless devotion and can only be completed by followers of Pulura in a sacred temple. No one can aid us in this task. However, Eliandra hesitates. There is other work we were forced to abandon because we lacked the strength, time, and resources. We previously explored the possibility of opening new world wounds or improving the existing one. Did you know the wound has already undergone a growth spurt of sorts? It's not entirely clear what happened, but the wound suddenly began to expand at a rapid pace and the energies of the abyss poured out of it. We tried to discover what triggered this event so that we could prevent it from happening again. Research on that subject ended several decades ago, but we can give you everything we managed to discover. However, you should be careful. This is dangerous knowledge and it must not fall into the wrong hands. What's the situation in Pulura's Fall? Things are no better or worse than they have been over the past 100 years. The temple is safely hidden from the prying eyes of demons. They simply cannot see it. However, only the most experienced fighters leave the boundaries of the temple, and they do so secretly, for the heart of the world wound lies beyond its walls. Demons and foul corruption, even the corpses of our own dead, have turned against us. You say you've been living here for 100 years, but you don't look that old. That is a rather uncomfortable subject for us, but by the will of Lady Pulura, all the inhabitants of the temple live longer than the normal lifespan allotted to mortals. We have no need of the Sun Orchid Elixir as our queen does. The power of the stars sustains us. We will face Pharasma's judgment only when we fulfill our mission or the temple falls. The Hand of the Inheritor and I have a matter to discuss with you. My righteous allies, allow me to tell you about the matter that has brought us here. You knew Targona and Lariel, the angels who defended Sarkoris in its final dark days. Stooge helped me to discover the fate of Lariel, and it was, alas, sorrowful. But I have not lost hope of finding Targona, and I believe you can help me. Stooge has a special gift, the imprint of Lariel's sword. This sword was made by Targona. I know it is within your power to look for the creator of this blade, if Stooge reveals its power to you. Eliandra and Kater exchanged glances. Of course, we would not deny help to our allies. My Lady Pulura would also be glad to see Targona return, should we manage to find her alive, but the scrying ritual requires preparation. I will give the necessary orders. You will have to wait until everything is ready and the stars favor our efforts. We will help, but it would be best if you leave Pulura's Fall after the ritual. Forgive my bluntness, Hand of the Inheritor, but you and the Knight Commander are notable figures. The demons are surely trying to track you, and if they follow you to our temple, our work may come to a tragic end. Eliandra's eyes drift over to one of the guards, and she is silent for some time. Then she says softly, I would like you to be our guest for a while, Knight Commander, while you wait for the ritual. See the way we live, talk to our people. Maybe news of the Crusade's revival will bring some cheer to our little community. I would ask you to pay special attention to the temple guards as well as to the stargazers Odin, Regnard, and Teriel. Dark clouds veil their souls, but it is not within my power to help them. You should honor her request, champion. Eliandra is one of the most radiant souls I know, and Kater is one of the most loyal and devoted. They have spent 100 years together with their comrades in voluntary isolation. It would be easy to lose one's clarity of perspective. I do not know mortals well enough to sense whether doubt or despair lives in the hearts of those who dwell in the fall, but perhaps you can? Okay.
I will see this
I
through.
suppose we should hop on our mounts,
A bright future awaits.
just in case. Okay, let's see. Return to Neathholm, that's not what we're doing. Okay, Mythic Quest. So this is a Mythic Quest. And these are the quests we need to deal with. Okay, time to go chat with those guys. Small mushroom patch that has clearly been tended with loving care. And we're stomping all over it. Okay, now we need to collect the funerary daggers.
We march ahead.
An inscription in Hullet that reads, O Sarkoris, all our tears are for you, our lost land. Whoa, that's quite a bit of experience.
Our path leads on.
Okay, let's go through this door then. Big dis. A tiny old woman runs her bony fingers along the tops of several magic scrolls, her lips moving silently. Who are you? The old woman squints short-sightedly. And who are you? The voice is not familiar, and I can't see your face. No, I don't know you. My name is Vigdis. I was once a junior priestess of Pulura, and now I manage the temple's resources and provisions. I put everything where it belongs and keep it safe. If you were once a priestess of Pulura, why aren't you a stargazer like everyone else? The old woman laughs. My stargazing days are over. I only see what's under my nose. Lady Pulura decided my old eyes should have some rest after all these years. Are you a trader? A trader? No, there is no trade in the temple. Who would trade with us? I make sure everyone is fed and their needs are met. Whenever anyone brings anything to the temple, they give it to me. Have you brought me something? Or perhaps it's the opposite and there's something you wish to take? Everyone is free to take what they need. What if I want to take everything? Then you must have great need. Everything here belongs to everybody. You may take or leave whatever you wish. Everything here is as much yours as it is ours. Very interesting. Holy aura, chocolate. Okay. I don't think we get anything in return, do we? No, we don't get cash. That's fine.
I will guide us.
Magnetic Deva. Greetings, brother. It is surprising to see the soul of a mortal shine so brightly. Fair enough. Someone has put a plate of food scraps near a hole in the wall, hoping to tame some small animal. Fair enough. Alright, let's take that. Stealing all their cash. Seems a bit callous, but oh well, it is what it is. There's Odin. Let's have a chat with him. The dwarf looks critically at a table that's been set for a feast. There are plates, cutlery, still no nice cups though. Just have to wrap the present, and the dwarf notices you and gives you a friendly smile. We finally have guests in our quiet abode. Please come in, have a glass of water. Unfortunately, there's nothing else I can offer you, but our water is of the very purest quality. I'm Odin, by the way, a stargazer at your service. What's the occasion? My daughter Ranhill turns 125 today. Such an important date calls for an important gift, but where would I get such a present? Well, luckily there's soft stone in the local caves, and I've carved her a clasp for a cloak. Came out alright, I think. Of course, when we complete our star vigil, I'll get her something better. It seems like only yesterday she was running around in her little shift asking me to toss her in the air. And now, 125. How time flies. Where's the guest of honor? Auden wilts slightly. Truth be told, I don't know. I can only hope she's in a safe place with her mother and aunts. Do you see the packages in the corner? Those are all the gifts I never had a chance to give her. I suppose she's outgrown most of them. But what if I'm a grandpa now, eh? My grandchildren could have them. I wish I knew for sure. Auden pauses to think. Wait, you're from Dresden. You must know about Winter Sun Village. There was a temple of Gorham there 100 years ago. Maybe it's still there. I know that the priests of Gorham were hiding my family and other refugees when the invasion began. Please go to the temple and search for anything or anyone that might provide answers about what happened to my family. Even if the truth is bitter, I want to know. I can't remain in blissful ignorance forever. Very well, I'll find your daughter. You're putting aside your own important affairs just to help me. I don't know how to thank you. Auden gives you a small package. It's been carefully wrapped in parchment and tied neatly with a string. If you find Ranhill, please give this to her. Let her know that her daddy always remembers her birthday and give her all my love and good wishes. Pure water is very rare in the wound. Do not underestimate its value. Of course, but from time to time something stronger wouldn't hurt, eh? Auden chuckles good-naturedly. But we have strict rules about such things. A stargazer can't be seen double, can he? Okay, we're done. Go and fear nothing. The stars will be your guide. Okay, Stargazer Regnard. A pale young man is staring at you. Incredible. I didn't think anyone could find this place. You are a gift from heaven. Oh, I mean, forgive my rudeness. I'm Regnard, a Stargazer. I'm very pleased to meet you. I think you might be the only one who can help me. Why am I the only one who can help you? The undead roam near the entrance to our caves. They were once great warriors, but now they're just corpses raised to undeath through some foul ritual. I've become very interested in one of them. You see, I study the history of Sarkoris. Legend tells of a great ruler named Alberiye, who was buried with his mighty sword, the Rage of Ice. Of course, most people think it's just a myth. But when the guards told me they defeated an undead that was wearing ancient armor and wielding an ornate sword, I almost lost my mind. The guards don't want to get near the corpses again, even if he really is dead this time, but maybe you could bring me the Rage of Ice? Just think, we could prove that Alberiye, the Master of Is, really existed. It'd be a breakthrough in historical research. Alright, I'll bring you the sword. I don't know how to thank you. A young man such as yourself must find it difficult to be stuck in one place for so long. Regnard shakes his head sadly. A young man, you say? I've long forgotten how old I really am. By Pulura's grace, my body does not age, but my soul feels dry as if I'm nothing more than an empty husk. I used to admire the stars, but now all I see are a collection of dim lights in the sky. I know their paths by heart, but... He stops abruptly, but you're probably not interested in all that. I have to go. It must be nice to have somewhere to go. A rack filled with what looks to be ancient Sarkorian weapons, okay? Parcels wrapped in parchment and tied with string. Perhaps they are meant to be gifts. looting all their bedside tables. But here's Tariel. An elf stargazer is studying a pile of parchments. His appearance is disheveled, and his attention seems to be entirely focused on the calculations in front of him. And again, I knew it. That confirms everything. When the elf notices your presence, he looks up from his work. The commander of Dresden? Incredible. I never thought I'd hear those words. My name is Tariel, and I'm a stargazer. Tell me this, Commander. You make the rules in Dresden, but do you also abide by them? Yes, as the commander, I must set an example for my soldiers. Tariel looks at you in disbelief. Such noble words. It's been a long time since I've seen a leader who doesn't think they are above the rules. You must know the person I'm talking about, of course, Kater. Are you trying to accuse Kater of something? I've known him for ages. Trust me, we were close friends for a long time. He certainly knows how to make a good impression. But if you look beyond his fake exterior, you'll begin to see his true nature. Tariel points to the parchments, which are filled with columns of strange digits and symbols. Look for yourself, it's obvious. A week ago, it was the stone tree. 3 months ago, it was the outskirts of Wintersun, and 20 years ago, it was outside of Dresden. 50 years ago, it was and finally 70 years ago, the stone tree. I assume he is visiting someone, most likely a woman. Tariel glances at you and frowns. Ah yes, forgive me. I haven't spoken to anyone about this for a while. To me, this is as clear as day, but I can understand how you might find my calculations confusing. The stars tell me about Kater's movements, and I can assure you, sometimes he goes to places that are not filled with demons and cultists, but with wine and women. Take Dresden, for example. You see, Kater has forbidden everyone who remained in the temple from seeing their family. He says it is dangerous and that we must keep the secret of our lair. The elf's lips curls with distaste. But for some reason this rule doesn't apply to him. We all vowed to stay within these walls and fulfill our duty, yet he gets to leave the temple whenever he wants. So what is he up to out there? I'd bet my life that he's going to see his wife Imris or some other woman. What other reason could he have to go to the stone tree? Dresden was still under the control of demons 20 years ago. If you'd really been keeping an eye on Kater, you would know that. Tariel considers this. You're right. I keep forgetting about what happened at Dresden. It's hard to remember everything. But on one thing I'm absolutely clear. Kater went to the stone tree 70 years ago, and I know that because we haven't spoken since then. A shadow falls across Tariel's face, but his sadness quickly gives way to anger. Well, of course I have no need to keep track of his comings and goings. Why would I, when I don't speak to him? But when he's been away for a long time, Eliandra asked me to check on him to make sure he's still alive. That's why I have these calculations. So you see, it's nothing personal. I simply want what's best for the temple. What is the stone tree? It's a tall tree, withered and petrified, even before the demons invaded. For some reason, it remains standing. It's supposed to be a sacred place they used to hold celebrations and weddings there. Imris and Kater got married there too, you know, so it all makes sense. Why don't you tell Eliandra that Kater is breaking the rules? Do you really think she'd believe me? She trusts Kater more than any of us. She and Kater agree on everything. She'll always take his side. Alright, I'll find out where Kater goes. Tariel nods in satisfaction. Excellent. He definitely stopped at the stone tree. I wouldn't be surprised if he's cozying up to some beauty from Wintersun in a cave somewhere. He's probably feasting with her and laughing at us fools for trusting him. I have to go. May Pulura keep you safe. Now where did I put my quill? Ristri, okay. A commander from Dresden. After all this time fighting for Dresden, those words are music to my ears. Fair enough.
Godspeed.
Okay, so we have Pulura's Fall Guard, Monadic Deva, and Eliandra in hand are here. Champion, how can I help you? What can you tell me about Eliandra? She's the ideal priestess, a selfless servant of the goddess and her people. Eliandra discovered her gift when she was only 13, and ever since then she has healed, guided, and protected the inhabitants of Sarkoris. I've met very few mortals who are capable of such abnegation. She has never married or had a family, but has devoted herself entirely to service. In return, the Shimmering Maiden has rewarded Eliandra for her sacrifice. She has always been the strongest of Pulura's priestesses. The inhabitants of the temple keep its existence a secret. How did you find out about it? Pulura herself told me about this temple and about the mission of its inhabitants. The mistress of the Aurora Iabara and I may differ in character and appearance, but we are both angels and protectors of good. We help one another, especially when the matter involves demons, our old foe. What can you tell me about Kater? He is a warrior, and the strength of his spirit is unmatched. He has devoted his entire life to the cause. His resilience and dedication have helped to protect and preserve the temple throughout the madness of the past 100 years. However, he does not simply defend the temple from its enemies, he also provides the community with the leadership it needs. Eliandra inspires and heals, but that on its own is not enough to keep the temple functioning over such a long period. Okay, I have to go. Let's chat with Eliandra. Why did you ask me to talk to the temple's inhabitants? Are you worried about something? My request to you was made on impulse. To put it simply, a heavy burden has been placed on our shoulders and it is easy to grow weary. We not only live in complete isolation, but we have done so for a very long time, an entire lifetime for some races. I'm afraid many will be broken by this ordeal if they have not been already. It would be easy if I could be dispassionate like Kater, but I cannot. I worry for those in my care. I feel like a mother who cannot protect her children from pain and grief. When I saw you, I hoped you'd be a breath of fresh air, that your presence would renew and restore our spirits. What do you know about Arilu and the opening of the world wound? More than some, but not as much as I would wish. I've been to Threshold, the fortress where outlawed spellcasters were held and where Arilu conducted her monstrous ritual. I even saw the betrayer in the flesh, though only briefly. Arilu was rumored to be a dangerous witch. For many years she had lived in isolation, carrying out strange experiments in deliberate obscurity, but she was noticed in the end. The best witch hunters tried to capture her, and it is said that many of them perished in the attempt, but when I saw her she was no longer a dangerous enemy. After many days in a dungeon, she was nothing more than a pale shadow. I was told her spirit was already broken when she was brought to Threshold, and she gave the guards no trouble. However, I think it is safe to say now that her compliance was simply a ruse, a cunning deception. When the wound opened, it shook the world. My Lady Pulura, in her heavenly wisdom, was one of the first to realize the magnitude of the threat and sent her priests a vision, along with an order to run and hide. But many couldn't find it within them to obey this order. How could they leave their beloved homeland, their homes, family, and friends? Many of my brothers and sisters perished, losing a hopeless fight against wave after wave of demons. I was destined for a different fate, and so was my shrine. Lady Pulura hid it from the eyes of the demons. I had a vision telling me about the work that needed to be done to avenge the fall of Sarkoris and rid the world of the world wound. That was when I learned this difficult task would take a century to complete and that it would require us to make many sacrifices, but I was willing. There are celestials as well as mortals here at the temple. Yes, of course. The priestess nods to the winged creatures standing nearby and they smile back at her. Angels and Azadas from the court of Lady Pulura often visited the temple in its days of glory. When this place was hidden away and we were given our missions, some of them decided to stay and support us. Like us, they have not gone beyond these walls for 100 years. They help us here in the temple, and of course, we are all united in our desire to heal the world wound. Okay, well, let's end the conversation here for now. Good luck to you. Do not hesitate to contact me if you need anything. You can also rest in the guard room when you are tired. Do not worry, Commander. The corruption of the beast cannot reach you here. Our temple is built on holy ground beneath the stars of Pulura. Okay. Fair enough. And this thing is a puzzle, which we can do later on. Oh, okay. Old Sarkorian book.
My will is resolute.
I hope you appreciate this.
Okay, quite a bit of cash. Okay, save. Need a love. A dark-haired woman is absorbed in sketching an assortment of dagger blades lying on the ground before her. The thick sketchbooks beside her are also filled with drawings of weapons. Suddenly aware that she is being watched, the woman looks up from her work with an exclamation of surprise. Oh, a visitor in the temple. Your weaponry is so interesting. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Nidalav, a priestess of Pulura, mistress of stars and farewells. What can you tell me about this place? Nothing that you couldn't learn from others. This is an ancient temple, one of the most sacred in all Sarkoris. After the wound opened, it turned into a secret enclave of resistance. Of course, we don't fight the demons directly, but our knowledge will help us to defeat them someday once and for all. Who better to take up such a burden than us? Of course, we did not expect Lady Pulura to prolong our mortal lives, but I am glad of her gift. I would gaze at the stars for another 100, even another 200 years if it would help us succeed in our mission. What are you drawing? By a stroke of luck, I came across some blades belonging to ritual daggers. They were just lying in a box in some dusty corner. Just imagine Sarkorian art stored away in the temple and then forgotten. So this is what I do in my spare time. I gather the items that once made our nation famous and make sketches, and whatever I cannot find I draw from memory. During the first 20 years of our imprisonment, I sketched our traditional clothing and adornments. I tried to account for all the clans, even those that had perished or disappeared before the opening of the world wound. Luckily, items from all across Sarkoris are stored in our temple. They were once brought as gifts or for the funeral rites of the chieftains. Then I switched to cookware and then to wood carvings. The wood carvings took me almost half a century, since that was one of the main art forms practiced in Sarkoris. Now I have moved on to weapons. When I'm finished, it will be the most complete collection of sketches on the subject of Sarkorian art. At the very least, these items will be preserved on paper if nowhere else. I found an unusual dagger on an undead corpse not far from the temple. Oh, I recognize the workmanship. Daggers like this tell the story of our great pride and great sorrow. Did you know this temple used to be the gate through which the Sarkorian chieftains passed into eternity? When the rivers flowed with water, barges would depart from Iz carrying the bodies of the deceased chieftains. Once the bodies arrived here and the proper rituals were observed, the dead were sent on their final journey. The burial barge would be set on fire and the chieftains would set off on their last journey aboard the flaming vessel. I myself performed such rites for 2 chieftains, but the world wound did not spare our sacred water or our dead. When the water began to dry up, the cultists of Cabriri turned the bodies of the chieftains into undead. We sheltered behind the walls of our temple, all the while knowing that our noble chieftains had been made into monsters. They roamed the area, killing the refugees who were trying to flee the dying Sarkoros. What an ignominious end. Nidalav's voice sounds more angry than sad. Forgive me, this wound has not yet healed and likely never will, but if you can, bring peace to our chieftains and bring me their weapons. At least 21 of the monsters raised by these cultists still remain. What can you tell me about your leaders Eliandra and Kater? They certainly know how to make an impression, don't they? They are as different as day is to night, but that is their strength and therefore ours as well. Kater is our protector. He's a rock, an anchor against the storm, holding fast against the tide of demon hordes. Eliandra is our guiding star. She has been a leader to others since childhood, and I should know. I followed her here to the temple. I have to go? Okay. Fair enough. The cosmic caravan and its journey across the night sky. Okay. The tomes are filled with the ephemerides, data about the movement of the celestial bodies. The data seems to have been gathered over centuries. Fair enough. Set of tables filled with astronomical data and observations about the world wound.
We march ahead.
Okay, well, I guess we have to search for the daggers now as well. What's in here? Okay. Do you know anything about Aurilu Vorlesh and the opening of the world wound? May that witch be damned for all eternity, along with her progeny if she has any. Yes, I know about her, though not much. There was no respect for arcane magic in Sarkoros, and there were reasons for our distrust. Divine spellcasters have always have someone above them, someone who can control them. A dishonorable priest or a paladin will lose their power immediately. Even with the priest of an evil god, an enemy, you still always know who they are and what to expect from them. But there is no higher authority for wizards. Nothing limits their might or their experiments with the very essence of the world. Our elders tried to control this chaos as best they could, but they did not wish to be harsh. They didn't execute offenders on the spot, they simply put them in prison. Wizards weren't even forbidden from practicing magic, they simply had to do it under supervision, but with Aurilu everything went wrong. The witch managed to reach out to Discari directly from the fortress where she was being held, and then served up her country on a silver platter to the Lords of the Abyss. How do you manage to keep your life in the temple a secret? We made everyone believe that Pulura's fall was destroyed along with Sarkoros. We staged the destruction of the temple. It was 100 years ago now, but those of us who had families didn't even get to say goodbye. We couldn't let anyone from the outside world know that we were still alive and hiding in the temple. Since then, only a few of the most experienced rangers are allowed to leave the temple and go on raids. We do it secretly, pretending to be crusaders or cultists, and we go to great lengths to ensure we are not followed. So far, our tactics have been successful. We've survived here for 100 years, and I hope things continue that way. Locked up for 100 years to keep their watch, forgotten by everyone. Sounds familiar. Noticing Kater's eyes on him, Lan bows his head politely. I'm not judging. Your post, your watch. Okay. And I guess this is it for all the chatting we have to do. Okay, well, I think this is a good place to end the episode. It's a bit shorter, but mostly we were getting our bearings on Pulura's fall. Thanks a lot for joining me for this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one.